In this video, I'm going to take you through example 1. So in this example, we're trying to find the solution of quadratic equations using graphing. So the first question, I'm going to let the computer read it to you.
Why are the x-intercepts of the graph of a quadratic function important to the solution of a related equation? Part A. Find the solutions of the quadratic equation x squared minus 16 equals 0.
So in order to find the solution, it's very important that, first of all, one side of the equation is equal to 0. So this is already done for us. And when one side of the equation is equal to 0, then our solution is simply our x-intercepts. So in order to find our x-intercepts, you're going to first need to graph the equation. And right here, we're just reminding you of the definition of a quadratic equation, where it's just an equation where you have that x squared term, so you have that second degree. So we scroll down, we have the graph of this equation. So it's graphed right here. And notice that this graph intersects the x-axis in 2 points. And that's because of its shape. So it intersects at x equals -4 and again at x equals 4. So in this case, we're going to have two solutions to our quadratic. So there's going to be both x equals -4 and x equals 4. Now this is not always the case, and we're going to take a look at another example that's a little different. So here we're going to find the solutions of x squared minus 14x plus 49 equals 0. Again, we're going to graph the equation, and we're going to look and see that this particular graph only intersects the x-axis in one point. So because of that, it's only going to have one solution, and that solution is the x-coordinate where it intersects the x-axis, which is 7. So x equals 7 is the only solution to this quadratic equation. And now for one more example. So now if we look to find the solutions of x squared plus 3x plus 7 equals 0. We make our graph, and notice that this graph never intersects the x-axis. So since it never intersects the x-axis, it has no solutions. So we now see that our quadratics, we can have two solutions, one solution, or no solutions. So it depends on how many times it intersects the x-axis. Now let's take a look at your triads. So here we want to find the solutions to x squared minus 36 equals 0. So we're going to start by first graphing this. So, and I'm going to just kind of zoom in here so we can see the calculator all the way. So I'm going to type x squared minus 36. Notice that I'm not going to type in the equals 0 part. I'm just going to write the left side of the equation. I'm going to go to zoom and standard just to make sure we have a standard zoom. And this is actually good enough for us to see where our graph intersects the x-axis. So I can use trace and move left and right kind of to get my cursor if I want to get an idea of where it's intersecting. Yep, I see my cursor blinking now. Sometimes it's off screen. You may have to go to zoom and fit to kind of prevent it from going off screen. See how I see my vertex and my zeros? So if I want to know precisely, I could do a couple things. I can trace and see if I can get my y to be exactly 0. See, I can't quite get it there. So another little trick is we can calculate. So if you go to second and trace and press number 2, we can then calculate, and it's asking us to choose our left bound, choose our right bound, and then our guess. So somewhere in the middle. And here I can see my 0 is at exactly x equals -6. And I can do the same thing on the other side. So I can do second trace again and my 0. And here I'm going to have to scroll all the way to my other side. Choose 1 point to the left, 1 point to the right, and approximately my 0, my guess. So here's x equals +6. So here I have two solutions, x equals -6 and x equals +6. So I'm going to go over back to my screen, and I can write that up as my solution. So I'm going to just choose my little marker. When you're writing your solutions, it's important that you also kind of sketch the graph to give an indication. So I'm just going to do a quick little sketch. I can't remember where the vertex is, but you should take note of that. So -6 and +6, right? So x equals -6 and x equals +6. So 2. You don't really need to put the positive. I know that's going to be one question. I'm just putting it there to be complete. Our next equation is x squared plus 6x plus 9 equals 0. So I'm going to go back to my calculator. Let's get this off. I'm going to clear this equation and I'm going to type in my new one. So let me zoom in. So x squared plus 6x plus 9. I'm going to go to zoom and standard just to kind of set everything back. And I'm going to go to zoom and fit, which is choice 0. Kind of zooms it in a little bit. And I can see, actually I like my standard zoom better. I'm just going to go back to standard. So I think that made it clearer. I can see this graph intersects the x-axis at just one point, I believe. To figure that point out, I'm going to go ahead and calculate my 0. So second calculate, and I'm going to choose 0. Choose 1 point to the left. Choose 1 point to the right. Press enter. Take my guess. Press enter again. And it looks at like my solution's at x equals -3. So I'm going to go back. And here, I could do a quick little sketch. Oops, let me make sure I put that on. I do a quick little sketch. And I know somewhere at -3. So x equals -3 is my solution. So that's it for example 1. Any questions, make sure you reach out to me. I'll be clear or glad to offer more explanations to clear anything up.